if everyone's ready. Okay. I'd like to call this board meeting to order. Please join me in a moment of silent prayer or reflection. Mrs. Fleming, will you call roll, please?
Jenna Alliard,
Here.
Kyle Newman,
Here.
John Maston,
Present here.
Eric Oran,
Here.
Lisa Roman.
Here. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. We will review and accept the agenda for this session. And at this time, we'll move on to item 3.1, which is the swearing in of our new governing board members. So if you are new, or even if you are returning for a second term, will you stand and I will Okay, so you'll raise your hand. I state your name.
I, John Maston,
Do solemnly swear that I will support
do solemnly swear that I will support
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution and laws of the state of Arizona,
and the Constitution and laws of the state of Arizona,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
and defend them against all enemies,
and defend them against all enemies,
foreign and domestic,
foreign and domestic,
and that I will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties
that I will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties
of trustee for the Lake Havasu Unified School District Number 1,
of trustee for the Lake Havasu Unified School District Number 1,
according to the best of my abilities,
according to my best abilities.
so help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, your new board member.
Amen.
If you are a new board member and you have family members that you would like to introduce, you're welcome to do so at this time. Okay.
I do. It is my pleasure to introduce my mother, Barbara Masden.
And I'd like to introduce both my parents and my brother and sister.
All right. You're well represented here today. I would like to say a couple words of thanks to our new board members, especially I think that, you know, in a time like this, these are circumstances under which a lot of people would shy away from accepting a new leadership role. And so I really admire the courage that you've taken to join us and be a part of this board. So thank you very much, both of you. And of course, welcome back to John. Okay.
I've got the plaque right behind you with my name in the first position.
Yes, you do. Okay, item 3.2 is the election of governing board president and vice president. The president or vice president shall conduct the election of officers. Nominations for each office will be received separately with an election immediately following each nomination. And just as a housekeeping item, new board members are just as welcome to seek or accept a nomination as any other board member. There's no requirement that you've served for a year or anything like that. So if that's something that you would like to hold and seek a nomination, you're more than welcome to do that. Okay. So at this time, is there anyone who is interested in serving for this school year as the board president? Okay. And I will also throw my hat in that ring. I would accept a nomination if I receive one. So at this time, I will accept nominations for either John has expressed an interest and so have I.
I nominate Lisa Roman. You have to second
For
it.
a nomination to proceed, it has to be seconded, or if it doesn't receive a second, it will die for lack of a second. Okay. Hearing no second, we will move to John's nomination. John has indicated that he would accept a nomination. Do I have a nomination for John?
I'd like to nominate Dr. Eric Arand.
Okay. I will second that nomination, and then we can move to discussion. Dr. Arand, would you be willing to serve as president of the board?
Reluctantly, in all of the board training that we had, it mentioned that it was probably not a good idea for a new board member to serve as president because of I know I need to speak into my mic because of the learning curve that goes along with it. So I would prefer not to. I would really, since we're into the discussion stage, love to hear from the candidates who were wanting to be a part of, wanting the board president, to hear why they wanted to be board president.
Okay. Mr. Masden, would you like to speak first, or would you like me to?
I will speak first. I had a very successful year in 2018. We were able to raise teacher pay. We were able to convert schools from whatever they can do to what they should do. We call it core knowledge. And we put core knowledge into Oro Grande first. And it has been very successful, and it's very good at moving kids through the system and up into the middle school and high school. And I think that what I bring to this is the plaque right behind Lisa is on board training. And that was my year that we did that. We made sure that all the board members were well-trained and well put into the Arizona School Board Association. And so I would like another year and have a good person behind me, and it would only be for 1 year.
Okay. And then for my part, I would say I do not have my heart set on serving as president. I would accept the role, and the reason that I would is because we are in the middle of a very sort of tumultuous year, and continuing on with the existing leadership might be a way of providing some continuity. As I said, I do not have my heart set on serving as president, but I'm willing to if I were to receive a nomination and a second. Yes.
So I guess maybe what I'm wondering is, if I were to be board president, I think I would need a significant amount of training. I would be much more comfortable in a vice president role this year, and maybe at an eye towards doing president next year,
Okay.
once I really understand that. If, of course, if the board still wanted me after a year to do that. So that's where my heart is at right now.
I nominate Lisa Roman again, and then we can go to the vice president.
Yeah, she's right. So we have a nomination and a second for Mr. Masden on the floor, or I'm sorry, for Dr. Arand on the floor.
Oh.
So we do need to vote on that. I would support you as president. I think that you would step into it seamlessly, because you've expressed a hesitancy to. It makes me also hesitant to vote for you as president. I would vote for you as vice president. But perhaps the best way to proceed is to simply vote on your nomination as continued unless you were to outright decline the nomination.
I will decline the nomination.
So at this point, we could accept a nomination for another person.
Well, I nominate Lisa Roman that time.
I will not second, I'm just saying, I will not second my own nomination. Okay, that nomination dies for lack of a second.
I'd like to nominate John Masden.
I would add to that that whoever is the vice president behind me should be ready to be the next year's president.
I don't hear a second for John's nomination, so that one also dies for a lack of a second. I know this is an awkward position. We do at some point have to decide who amongst us is going to be president.
So kind of when we were going through board training, this was something that has, in most places, passed among the board members from year to year to year. So to me, it makes sense for either Archie, John, or Lisa to be at this year, and then Kyle or I to be at, ongoing, something like that. It is hard for me to gauge kind of where we are as a board. Are we divided? Are we moving forward? I'm thinking that whoever is getting this position, there is a lot of unity that needs to be made in this upcoming year. That's why I'm hesitant to second for anybody right now. I'm very hesitant to second.
I think if you look historically at this group, and you go back prior to 2016, and the election that changed the makeup of the board back in 2016, we had one president for years. And there was a vice president. That vice president sat off away from the president and was just there just in case somebody didn't make a meeting. And so I think if we do some planning now and we think about what the future is going to look like, which was kind of my point to the whole thing, and your point, I think if we do that, if we think about what the future is going to actually look like and how it's going to change over time, that we respect our community because we don't give it an automatic everything is right out there, and that's going to last for another 4 or 5 years. I think we need to think about 1 year, and we need to do good planning for the next year.
Mrs. Aliar, I didn't see when I was asking for people who would be willing to serve, I didn't see if you were or not. Is that something that you'd be willing to accept or not?
I don't have the time this year for that kind of responsibility.
Okay.
I will go ahead then and second John Masden, just for the fact of a rotating presidency. I think that's something that we need to do.
Okay. So we have a nomination and a second. All in favor of John Masden, or I'm sorry, Mrs. Fleming, will you call roll?
Archiana Aliar,
Yes?
Kyle Nuderman,
Yes.
Eric Arand,
Yes.
Lisa Roman,
Yes.
John Maston,
Yes.
Okay, congratulations.
Just remember, my quote on the page today was kids first.
I will swear you in as president, and then you can preside over the vice president nomination. I
I, John Masden,
do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution
do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution and laws of the state of Arizona,
and the Constitution and laws of the state of Arizona,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
and defend them against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
and defend them against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
and that I will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties,
and that I will faithfully and
impartially,
partially discharge the duties
of president
of President
for the Lake Havasu Unified School District Number 1,
for the Lake Havasu Unified School District Number 1,
according to the best of my abilities,
according to the best of my abilities,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations.
Who's our Vice President?
You get to preside over that part of it.
Okay. I don't think I need new cards now. Okay, the first one I get to go over is for the Vice President of our board. Do we have nominations for the Vice President?
I nominate Dr. Arand.
I'll
Vice
second
President.
that. And let's call the question.
Can we have some discussion first?
We can, if you'd like it.
I just want to just make sure that you are still willing to
I would
serve.
be happy to do that. That's the board process.
Okay, call the question.
Archana Aliyar,
Yes.
Kyle Kinderman,
Yes.
Lisa Roman,
Yes.
Eric Oran,
Rand, you'll get used to it.
yes, I will.
Yes,
Oran,
yes.
okay, John Maston,
Yes.
Congratulations.
Would you like to be sworn in as vice president? Or you think the first one was enough?
I like swearing. I don't.
It's up to you. What do you want?
Is it a part of the?
Okay, let's swear you in as that. Let me find the right page here so I get the right words. Okay. So on
Get there on page 2, 3.1. There we go.
That's the paragraph. Start with I
I,
in your name.
Eric Oran,
Do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the laws of the state of Arizona,
do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution and laws of the state of Arizona,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
and defend them against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
and defend them against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
and that I will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of Vice President
and I will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of Vice President
for Lake Havasu Unified School District Number 1,
for the Lake Havasu Unified School District Number 1,
according to the best of my abilities, so help me God.
according to the best of my abilities, so help me God.
Amen. Welcome. Okay. So I think we're up to 3.5? Okay, I would like to declare that this governing board is seated and organized. And was that it? Nope. What designated date do we need to meet? Do we want to keep it like it was, or do we want to change it?
I don't personally see a reason to change it.
I say keep it.
There's no
I think
issues.
that we keep going with Tuesdays. I think we just stay with that, that's working.
may I have a vote on that, please?
Yes.
I make a motion that we keep the same third Tuesdays for our meetings.
I'll second that.
Kyle Kinderman,
Yes.
Eric Oran,
Yes.
Lisa Roman,
Yes.
Archana Aliyar,
Yes.
John Maston,
Yes. And then we need approval of the student discipline hearing officers for 2021. Mrs. Stone?
Mr. President, it is recommended that the governing board approve Mrs. Becky Goldberg as hearing officer for 2021, funded from Medicaid. District directors or myself will preside if Mrs. Goldberg is unavailable. It is further recommended that the governing board, per district policy, continue to meet in executive session to hear all expulsion hearings referred or requested by administration. A special services representative will continue to attend any discipline hearing for a special education student. Per board policy JKE, the board can appoint a hearing officer to oversee discipline and suspension hearings. Due to the number of discipline hearings, a hearing officer is needed. The position will be reviewed annually. Per job description for hearing officer, approved December 12, 2006. A hearing officer will be approved by the governing board at the first regular meeting in January of each year.
So all we have is Becky. Okay, I motion that we approve 3.7 as Rebecca Stone presented.
I second.
Just in curiosity, and this isn't anything about the position, but I was just very curious about the numbers of discipline hearings that we've had in previous years that we would expect to, and kind of how much it's changed since the corona. Do we have that information?
we have only had to call on somebody to take Becky Goldberg's place twice. And in the last probably 5 or 6
I do not know the numbers previously. This year, the number has decreased significantly.
Gee, wonder why.
Right. I believe we've seen five or
The last
six.
2 years has been under 100.
Yeah, that was my take on the whole thing, is I remember historically what this has been, and it's been under 100. Did we get a second to
We did.
3.7?
Eric Haran,
Yes.
Al Nudeman,
Yes.
John Maston,
Yes.
Archie Aliar,
Yes.
Lisa Roman,
Yes.
Okay, then on the agenda, there's only one more thing we've got to do. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
I'll second.
Okay, let's vote.
John Maston,
Yes.
Archie Aliar,
Yes.
Eric Haran,
Yes.
Al Nudeman,
Yes.
and Lisa Roman.
Yes.
Thank you.
And thank you all for coming. Thank you for your participation, and thank you for your family members that are up here. It's just good for our community to have this happen. Thank you.